Okay, guys, here goes another video. Video is going to be about startups, about founders, about Twitter, and I'm in love with Twitter, and you will see that. So we are going to use this platform a lot. But what I'm going to show you today is all the good information that you can find here if you want to switch from engineering to a startup somehow. And I really believe there are very good people to follow here, and one of them is John Rush. This guy is a blast. This guy is very good, and he's not paying me for doing this. He don't even know me, but I really believe this guy is transparent. He's very good and he knows what he's doing. And he is a master of SaaS, and I think it's one of the best simple way to start if you are a software engineer, building your own SaaS and trying to find a way to monetize it. So please go here, find John Rush, give it a follow, and say it was me that I made a video about him. Uh, this guy, you need to go after each software application tweet or each startup tweet. You have to go across all of them actually. Well, maybe you should start on the beginning because right now he's trying to keep hot his own community. So he's trying to put more news, more information that maybe is not totally related with the startup at all. But at the beginning, he started showing a lot of good information. I think I have a couple of tweets saved here, but I just want to. I'm going to show you just one tweet. Let's see. So you can tell me if this guy is good or not. So I co-founded a startup as a CDO. This is a very, very, very good tweet that he posted today. He shared this story a while back when I started to follow him, but I think it's very important for you to read it. John Rush, that's a great, great, great story. But I'm going to read it to the community that I'm trying to build right now. So please, thank you for posting such good content and allow me to do this. And again, I hope you can continue sharing good information for all of us. So I confidently a startup as a CDO, had a Lego, McKinsey, and Macy as customers. Entered the best B2B, business to business access in the world. Moved to San Francisco. But one of it turned my 50% stake into, wow, what a 0.50%. So it was left with nothing. Let's see what he said. Beginning, I was a CDO in a startup in an incubator. On a Friday beer, I was approached with an old man. He quickly broke the ice, touched my shoulder, and behaved like an old friend. It looked random to me, but it wasn't. Years later, he revealed it. I moved here to get hunt you. Co-founder. He had an idea for a hardware startup, a machine that looked like Apple made it. I spent years building websites and apps, so jumping into hardware felt so compelling. I joined him as a CTO and co-founded for 50% of the company. Rich man. He was a rich man with a huge house in the best luxury area of the city, with a big exit in the past. He kept saying, I can't do this without you. He was a master of psychology, and I do anything for him. He was my mentor, almost my father. He I haven't read this tweet yet, but if you find a rich guy that becomes your mentor, you are very blessed, man. You are very blessed. But let's see what happens after. It was very inspiring. I did my best job ever over the few years. I worked days and nights. Some day I worked 20 hours, slept on the office couch, and continued. We had many orders, and I was putting the software and hardware together, driving into the client and installing it. I was obsessed. My girlfriend left me because we didn't see each other at all, but I didn't even notice it. So he was so focused that he forgot that I had a girlfriend. That's crazy. But that's great. That's crazy, but that's great because if you go to the founders, actually, if you go to the founders podcast, which I will recommend a lot, the founder podcast. What happened with my internet today? What happened with my internet? I found the podcast in Apple. Okay, this one. Okay. I bet you should go here if you want to become a founder at some point of your life, your career. You have to start here. Why? Because Davi Sendra creates a podcast about founders, about CEOs, about people that create great companies and great stuff. It's about bright autobiographies of, man, this guy has literally 371 biographies already in a podcast. So if you don't have the time to read a book, if you don't have the time to go over all these excellent autobiographies, I think you should start here. So, and if one of the things that I read like almost over 100 chapters here on this podcast, and one of the most important things that he mentioned over and over and over again about excellent founders is the ability to focus. Big founders have the ability to focus. Great founders have the ability to focus on one only thing. He also mentioned in this Edwin Land and Steve Jobs a podcast how Steve Jobs was able to focus for an entire quarter on one single feature. It was amazing. It was amazing to hear that. So this guy, you see, for only these sentences, how you can figure it out the personality of these guys, and this is what rich people find or good people find to found. So if you are a rich guy, you want one of these guys working for you, and maybe that's what happened to him. So living a dream, things were going really well. We met Jack. Who's Jack? Oh, this guy is famous though. He's Jack. I ain't seen him, but I don't know who he is. I think he's a CEO. Well, we found more of it about Jack later. So he found Jack. Oh, the founder of Twitter and Square. Yes, the founder of Twitter and Square in San Francisco, and present our machine. We partnered off with his company, which was doing the payment stand, to use it for our machine. We raised money from investor, got into the best business-to-business accelerator in the world, and he moved to Silicon Valley into a mansion. Departures and hints. My co-founder onboarded more people and each of them a generous equity package. I asked, why do I just give away equity? He said, don't worry, I know how to get it back later. It's very, 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 very deep move for a founder. I learned what he means here later, the hard way. While things were going really well, a hard burnout. Since my girlfriend left me, I felt very demoralized and lonely once I realized I was alone now. After working 100 hours a week for 3 years and having 0 days off, no kidding, literally, I worked, 1,000 or 100,000, whatever, days in a row. I realized that I needed a change. I recently became a father, but my co-founder insisted that I move from Oslo to San Francisco. I went there, but it didn't work for me to be away from my kid. My personal life was a total mess. I broke up with the mother of my child. The co-founder was so good at manipulating my brain that I was like a puppet. I realized that I want to be my own boss. I decided to leave. I spent a year on hiring more people and finding a new guy to replace me as a CDO. The replacement went very well, so eventually I switched to a part-time advisor role. Poor founder risk. I kept working part-time for him, but also moved on with my new startup. One strange thing I noticed is that we were burning money like crazy. I thought my co-founder had prepared new funding and knew what he was doing. A few months later, I got an email from the board. They were planning a new funding round. First, I was happy about that, and it means my shares will be worth more. But it turned out they were planning an internal down round where all investors had to put money in. I was the only shareholder who wasn't rich. It was relative average money for all the investors, but for me, it was more than I could afford. Since I own 50%, I couldn't participate in the round. My 50% was diluted to nothing, basically. So this is very important. Sometimes I'm seeing this error again and again. At the beginning, if you have nothing, I think it's a very risky move to own only equity and you work so hard. I mean, that's my 2 cents. You might say something different. Just share your comments here. But because these things happen, when the start in early stage startups, they need to at some point raise more capital to grow the company, to scale the company. And if you don't have the ability to participate in these rounds, you will be diluted and you will stay with nothing. So how is that legal? In a VC founder startup, it's very easy to lose almost all your equity if they start to decide to have an internal round and issue new shares. It may have 100 shares, I own 50, another own 85. Then it may issue 1,000 shares, where each cost. Well, it's basically explaining how the dilution works on any company. But basically, you start with a piece of the pie, and somehow the pie grow off, and that little piece of the pie is almost nothing. So, and this was the end of the story. I also learned an important lesson here. Let's see what lesson he said. The model: owning equity in a startup doesn't protect you. Okay, we already talked about that. Rich investor can kick you out of your own company at any time if you are not important to it. I'm not doing VC-based startups again. Only bootstrapping and self-funded. He's basically giving you his story to you understand the importance of having the right persons funding your company. I think Elon Musk talked about this a lot. You need to be very careful with the investors as good as with the engineers you work with. And I think in this podcast there is one chapter here about Elon Musk and how he built SpaceX, and he shared David shared one story about what happened with one of the investors, the early investor of SpaceX. I don't remember well, but I'm going to find out and we're going to discuss it later, because it's very important for you to understand that, yeah, you can bootstrap your company and you can succeed. I really believe this. I haven't done it myself, to be honest. I haven't done it, but it seems that a lot of people are doing it, and they are doing it with different companies. This guy is Ronchers. Let's continue talking about him. Has 24 projects right now. He basically built what he needs. I think it's a very excellent approach to follow, to be honest with you. If you are working in specific areas of knowledge, in specific applications, you know your customers. I bet you know your customer, you know the pain points, you know the problems they have, and somehow you know how to fix them. And I haven't think about this before until I met John Rush here on X. You really need to create those things that you know how to solve, a business around it. And there is a way, you follow him, and there is a way to really create business around the problems you know how to solve. Of course, you will need to work very hard. You will need to work very, very hard. Sorry. You need to work very hard. Okay, I'm sorry. My wife is just... So Unicorn Platform, he basically bought this SaaS. He bought it for a web page, landing page. So he basically start building SaaS, fixing or building things for things that he wants to fix or things that he wants to improve. And until today, he has 24 SaaS working and growing up. You have to review them, because I think this is the only guy here that is showing how he grows transparently all his information. And this is my second video in this format. And actually, I thought that I was going to do the first video about him, but I tried to do it the best as possible. So I move this video as a second idea I have for you guys. I'm going to share this on X, give it a follow, and review his information, because I know even if you don't want to become a software engineer founder, even if you don't want to create a startup, I think it's very important for you to understand the business perspective as a software engineer, because you will approach your day-to-day basis in your life in different way. Really, you will really approach your day-to-day basis, and you will have a different perspective, a second point of view, if you like to call it that way. Okay, so thank you. See you in the next video. Bye.